She stepped into the dealership wearing a pair of jeans and a plain white tee. Approaching the front desk, she asked about a high-end vehicle. The salesman gave her a condescending once-over. "I think you're lost," he said with a sneer, motioning toward the door. "These cars start at 300 grand. Other employees chuckled quietly, and curious glances came from nearby customers. Red-faced with silent embarrassment, she turned and left. The next morning, a stunning Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up right in front of that same dealership. As the back door swung open, the same salesman froze in disbelief. He hadn't seen this twist coming. Boston Luxury Motors shimmered under the early sunlight. Its glass-paneled showroom boasted elite automotive art: Porsche, Bentley, Ferrari, Aston Martin, all lined up like royalty on display, each more expensive than the last. In walked Margaret Collins, Maggie, to those who knew her. Her brown ponytail bobbed as she walked, her look still simple. That same white tee, jeans, and minimal makeup. At 35, she radiated a quiet confidence, the kind that comes from knowing your worth. What didn't show in her appearance was that she was the powerhouse behind the Collins Foundation for Children with Disabilities, an initiative that had changed thousands of young lives. Years before marrying her husband, she had single-handedly built the foundation from the ground up, investing her degree in special needs development and her whole heart into something meaningful. The moment she stepped into the showroom, her eyes locked on a sleek, midnight blue coupe. It was the perfect gift for her sister's 40th birthday. Caroline had always dreamed of owning a luxury car, and after beating breast cancer last year, Maggie wanted to make that dream a reality. She had more than enough means to make it happen. Thanks to the success of her foundation and smart personal investments, she was financially secure, though few were aware of that. Across the polished floor, sales manager Blake Thompson adjusted his blue tie and smoothed out his navy blazer. He took pride in quickly sizing up buyers, often before they said a word. At the sight of Maggie in her casual attire, he smirked slightly and nodded toward a colleague. This was going to be entertaining. "Good morning." Maggie greeted a young salesman named Daniel who had just approached her. "Welcome to Boston Luxury Motors." "I'm Daniel," he said cheerfully. "Anything particular you're looking for today?" Before Maggie could answer, Blake glided in, cutting the moment short. "I'll take it from here, Daniel," he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Then he turned to Maggie. "Looking for directions, ma'am?" And just like that, Maggie's day at the dealership truly began, a day that would leave a lasting mark on everyone involved. "Actually," Maggie replied calmly, "I'm interested in that midnight blue coupe." She gestured toward the $285,000 car, gleaming on its display stand. Blake's pleasant facade tightened. He had seen this routine plenty of times, people coming in to fantasize about cars they'd never afford. With the month's sales goals looming and several serious clients on the schedule, he had no patience for dreamers. "That's the Azure Limited Edition. Only 15 made this year," he stated, each word slow and deliberate, as if speaking to someone who wouldn't understand. "Perhaps I can point you toward our pre-owned inventory. It's located a few blocks east." Maggie noticed his eyes scan her clothes again, lingering on her well-worn sneakers. She was no stranger to such judgments. What he didn't know was that she chose this lifestyle on purpose, finding peace and simplicity despite having wealth most people couldn't imagine. "I'd love to learn more about this model," she said, her tone still warm. "Would it be possible to view the interior?" Blake's smile faltered. Behind him, a couple of staff members exchanged smirks. "That model is available by appointment only," he lied smoothly. "Typically, our more serious clients schedule private viewings." Just then, a sharply dressed couple walked into the showroom, catching Blake's attention. In an instant, his attitude flipped. "You'll have to excuse me," he told Maggie dismissively. "Daniel can give you a brochure." He strode away, arms open wide, calling out, "Mr. and Mrs. Harrington, wonderful to see you again." Daniel stepped back over to Maggie, offering an embarrassed smile. He couldn't have been more than 25, and his oversized suit hung awkwardly on his frame. "I'm really sorry about that," he murmured. "Would you still like to hear more about the Azure?" "I would," Maggie said kindly. As Daniel launched into the car's features, Maggie noticed Blake opening the Azure's door with great flair for Mrs. Harrington. inviting her to sit inside the very vehicle he had just claimed was off-limits. "That's quite all right," she told Daniel with a soft chuckle. "I understand how things work." Across the room, Blake continued his polished pitch. "This particular model has an 8-month wait list," he told the couple, "but I've reserved one for VIP clients." Mrs. Harrington ran her fingers along the luxury leather. "It's beautiful, though I'm unsure about the color." "We can absolutely customize that," Blake assured her. Just then, Maggie stepped a little closer, staying within earshot. "Excuse me," she said calmly. "I was still hoping to inquire about purchasing this model." Blake's expression hardened. "As I said, this vehicle is being shown to these clients," he said through clenched teeth. "Maybe come back another day, or perhaps visit our used car section as I previously suggested." The Harringtons exchanged uneasy glances. "I'm specifically interested in this coupe," Maggie reiterated, still composed. "It's a gift for my sister's birthday next month." Blake stepped aside from the couple and lowered his voice. "Look," he said, tone sharp, "some folks like to dream big, but this is a serious business." He gestured toward the car. "That thing costs more than most homes. I've been patient, but now you're interfering with real customers." By now, a few others in the dealership had stopped to observe. Daniel hovered nervously nearby. "I'm prepared to pay in cash today," Maggie said without flinching. That's when Blake lost his cool completely. He let out a dry, mocking laugh that echoed across the room, catching everyone's attention. "A cash purchase," he repeated loudly. "This isn't some bargain lot. We're talking over $250,000. He waved at her attire. "People who can afford this stuff don't come and dress like that." Maggie's cheeks flushed, not from shame, but from a slow-burning anger. She'd been through this before, but it wasn't about her. It was about every person who had been dismissed for looking like they didn't belong. "I think my money holds the same value as anyone else's," she said quietly. Blake stepped in closer, lowering his voice but not his arrogance. "Let me be very clear. You're wasting my time. And honestly, you're making a scene." He glanced around. "If you want to come back for a real conversation, dress like someone serious or leave." The room fell silent. Even the Harringtons had stepped away from the vehicle, visibly uncomfortable. "Is there an issue here?" came a voice from behind. The dealership's owner, Richard Mason, had stepped out from his office. Blake straightened immediately. "No issue, sir. Just explaining to this lady that we operate by appointment for premium models." Richard took in the scene, the tension, the awkward silence, Maggie's calm yet pained expression. "Miss Collins," he asked. "Margaret Collins," she clarified softly. "Miss Collins," Richard said slowly. "Perhaps there's been some miscommunication. Our clients usually understand the exclusivity of our offerings." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Maggie replied, her voice measured. "Your manager made that quite clear." Blake stepped forward again, trying to reclaim control. "If you're truly interested, which I doubt, maybe come back with bank verification. And dressed a bit more appropriately. These cars," he swept a hand toward the showroom, "aren't for just anyone." A few people murmured. Someone even laughed. Maggie looked around, the silent onlookers, the smug expression on Blake's face, the owner who said nothing to stop it. She'd faced bias before, but rarely had it been this public or this blatant. "I see," she said simply. With her dignity intact, but her spirit bruised, she turned and walked toward the glass exit doors. Just behind her, Blake's voice carried a little too loudly. "Some people just don't know their place." Outside, as she stepped into the crisp morning air, Maggie reached for her phone. The sting of what had happened lingered, but so did something else. A quiet, resolute smile played at her lips. The Collins estate sat peacefully on 5 acres just outside Boston, its elegance understated, hiding the vast wealth that funded it. Alexander Collins preferred it that way. At 41, he was a tech visionary who had transformed renewable energy storage, quietly building a fortune while staying out of the spotlight. When Maggie stepped into his home office, Alexander immediately looked up from his desk. 15 years of marriage had taught him to read every nuance of her expression, and today, something was clearly wrong. "What happened?" he asked, moving around the desk without hesitation. Maggie sank into the leather chair across from him, the morning's encounter still fresh and raw. "It was enlightening," she said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She began recounting the experience at the dealership, how the salesman had sized her up, dismissed her interest, and essentially pushed her out the door, all based on her appearance. As she spoke, Alexander's face darkened, though he stayed quiet, letting her get it all out. "It's not really about me," Maggie concluded. "I can walk away from that place knowing the truth.